What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to your daily dose of Manchester United transfer news. Owen was hot off the press. I have to say, normally this is the perfect time to throw Owen under the bus or KG, who isn't even supposed to be on this show this morning. There you go. Red Baron says KG's bad internet infecting others. True. We'll go with that one, to be fair. We'll go with that one. But we had to kind of make some last minute adjustments because there was some breaking news. And that's why it's good to do shows early in the morning. There was a little bit of news about Timber. Some big news, to be fair. We're going to get into what that means. There was other reports about Harry Maguire's future being in doubt, which kind of ties into this, though. It does tie into off the back of this, so it's quite seamless what's going on here.
Yes.
So Owen on the buttons made it happen. Doesn't matter about being 4 or 5 minutes late. That's what.
Yeah, you might not be able to see this, but there is actual smoke coming off these fingers. I'm telling you right now. I was literally like that. You know, like have you seen Bruce Almighty when he's answering all the emails and he's going,
and he's going, yeah.
That's what it was. That's what the actual scenes were 5 seconds ago. But we got there in the end, folks. We're here. We're live.
We did get there in the end. And there's a lot to get into, to be honest, because we've got to talk during Timber. And Epcon Kona, he's been talking a lot about the Frankie de Jong situation and obviously the Timber situation. He has claimed that Man United are in advanced talks to sign during Timber. Now it's now picked up pace and it's advanced now. There's still been no full clarification on the fee though, because I don't think we're that far yet to that being disclosed. The last time we spoke about this, we were talking about a bargain of sort of 30 to 35 million, which we then came to the assumption and the consensus basically from everyone saying that actually, is that even a bargain? That's probably what it should cost. But a lot of people were biting their hands off and saying that's exactly the type of signing we need. 35 million, 19 on the up, played under Ten Hag, perfect. But now the story is slightly different, and basically Ekram Kona is saying that talks are advanced. We had that thing where Owen was saying about the agency that was saying deal closing time, and now we get this. So look,
I forgot about that actually, Flex.
Exactly. So it's all when you bring it all in. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news or rain on any parade, but I have to give everything. I'm not going to do that whole telling you it's 100% happening, and I'm only putting together all of the clues, guys, to give you a lot of balanced view of what's going on. Excuse the pun. With everything that's gone on, it's gathering. It seems like it's gathering, but there still seems a way to go on this. Owen, Timber talks advanced. We'll talk about how that leads into Maguire, etc., in a little while. But what's your initial reaction to the talks are advanced?
I guess it's the same as it was a couple of days ago, I suppose, in the sense that it's transfers, how they operate are so odd, really, when you think about it, isn't it? Because one person will start it off. In this case, like you said, Ekram Kona puts it out there initially saying, actually, it's more advanced than you think and all that kind of stuff. And people go, no. And then maybe some other sort of outlets or journalists sort of catch up to that and go, well, no, maybe they're not advanced, but there's certainly smoke to that fire, that kind of situation. Then you get discussion about price come out going, well, if they were looking at a price, it'd probably be around 35 million euros. And you go, oh, is that realistic? Yeah. And then today you get that talks are advanced. And to be honest, when you think about it, why shouldn't they be advanced realistically? Because again, you're talking about a guy, and we know that transfers don't get done overnight. So we're talking about a guy that's been with Erik Ten Hag especially with Erik Ten Hag knowing he's going to be the Manchester United manager for the last couple of months at this point. He's been with Erik Ten Hag for the last 2 months. So realistically, why wouldn't talks be advanced? Certainly between the manager and the player himself. And if they're like, yep, you know what, I'm interested, I'm in and coming to Manchester United, then it would feel certainly like it's somewhat of a straightforward deal to do. Young player, fits the profile, knows the manager spoken to the player spoken to the agent. All it takes is United to go in there and work out a price, which it has been already sort of been quoted anyway. So hearing that is a positive. I think when we spoke about this the other day, I got a response, or I think the United View Twitter account got a response saying, because the quote I said at the time was, if that is the price, being 35 million euros, what are we waiting for? And the response was, what are we waiting for? The transfer window hasn't opened yet. And my response to that was kind of, well, transfers can get done outside the transfer window. Exactly. And I know they're different deals because release clauses and stuff like that. But just because it's not June 10th yet, and that's when the transfer window officially opens, this deal can get done relatively quickly, and it can get done, in maybe the next week or so. So it's certainly a positive. Obviously, we're going to talk about how it impacts Maguire, etc. We know that possibly, well, at the very least, 2 centre backs are leaving this summer in Eric Bailly and Phil Jones, most likely. The interesting point is, and we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? Saying that when it comes to Timber, I think it might have been actually Marcel was talking about it the other day, saying if Timber were to come in, what is our first choice sort of centre back pairing, or what's going to be the pairing that plays the majority of next season? Logic would say if it was Timber, I would be Timber and say Varane, right? Varane ain't playing every game, Flex.
No, he's not.
I hate to break this kind of news to you in the morning. So, what centre back pairing plays the most games next season if Timber does come in?
Well, this is what leads into why Maguire's future is in doubt, and that was let me check who that was actually reported by. I can't remember who it was, so I want to get that right. Don't know if you've got it. Let me have a look as well, just so I can reference it properly.
It was from Chris Wheeler and Sammy Muckbell from the Daily Mail, saying
from the Daily
Harry
Mail.
Maguire's future could be in doubt if Ten Hag strengthens in that position by signing Jurriën Timber or Lisandro Martinez.
Right. So that's what I mean. So that's where that came from. Domestic journalists, reputable outlets, but it doesn't mean it's set in stone. But that shifted the conversation everyone's thinking, including mine, to okay, so if Timber or Martinez arrive, the casualty is Maguire. When actually, in theory, again, that sounds like music to our ears. You can see there in the comments, Samir says Timber and Varane. Kevon Bridge says Varane and Timber. It's music to his ears. Regine says Varane and Timber. A lot of people saying Timber can also play right back. Lil Yo-Yo says Varane and Lindelof watch. We're going to have to see what happens there. And there's a super chat from Lil Yo-Yo as well that says, big up Flowing. Have you checked on KG with the Aaron Wan-Bissaka news? Yeah, he's gone into hiding a little bit. He did tweet end of an era. I saw that. You would think that if we're trying to move in the right direction with what we've seen as fans, you're going to go with Varane and Timber, But like you said, Varane's not always available. He's going to have a heck of a turnaround to turn around his injury fortunes.
Let's be honest, Flex, he's not going to turn around his injury fortunes. That's the frustrating thing with all this kind of injury stuff. When people talk about this, people say, "Oh, can they overcome their injury issues?" Has anyone ever? Logistically, has anyone ever really if they're painted as they get injured for like a third of the season? We always have the conversation about any player, Paul Pogba, Varane, or other clubs. People like Jack Wilshere. Oh, if he could only get over his injuries, people never they don't. If you're an injury-prone player, you tend to be an injury-prone player. That's kind of it. So if we did sign Timber, chances are for at least a third of next season,
last period,
it would be Timber and Lindelof, or maybe Timber and Maguire. Sorry. So yeah, that's my thing on the injury thing. But carry on.
Well, that's the thing. He would probably go with who's more readily available. We would all want to see Varane. So really, at the beginning, it could be Varane until he gets injured. Do you know what I mean? United supporter says injured Varane is better than Maguire. It's better than Maguire. We'll have to see. But I do think that leads nicely into looking at what the future would be for Maguire, and then looking at the captaincy. Would that be the first thing to go from him? Who knows? Would it then lead into there's a young up-and-coming centre-back coming who is reliable, is going to play all the time? Then it's out of him and Varane. For the first couple of weeks of the season usually sets the tone. You know what I mean? If he goes with Varane and Timber because he thinks that's more combative and Varane's in a good element, then I was reading some quotes from Deschamps about Varane the other day.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and he was basically saying, Varane's had a shit time,
Yeah.
But Manchester United have had a shit time. And to us, he's got massive experience and he's hugely important to us. He's proved that he can play. Obviously, international football's a bit different, but he's pretty much always available for them. Apart from one or two times this year where he's been injured and couldn't go, but mostly he's very reliable for France in that well-oiled machine. So I think it obviously on paper it looks better with Varane and Timber. Even if I think you do that until the inevitable happens, you've got to try it, because also, there's been times in Varane's career where the injury-free part has been longer than other times. Do you know what I mean? Could be
Yeah.
where he's been available for 6 solid months. And I know people say, yeah, but that's the problem. He's still our player now. He's our player. Like, we've paid the 40 million already. So we've got to try again, in my opinion, because we already have to get another centre half because Maguire's an issue, because Bailly's going to go, because Lindelof he's okay. He's okay. But
He's okay as your third choice or your
do you
fourth
know what I
choice or
mean?
whatever.
Always
Yeah.
comes in and does okay. But whether you think it was a mistake getting Varane or not, which I'm not even trying to just defend my guy because I can see everyone's point, and I have to hold that. He's not reliable enough, but he's still here now and he's fit now. He's fit. It's not even like we're
Yeah,
nursing him back from injury.
yeah.
Like, he's fit.
I'm
He's
not
ready to go.
opposed. I'm not opposed to, like you said, if I was confident in us managing his fitness or managing his schedule, that would be another thing. I'm not comfortable with that. I think if anything, us actually being in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League actually does help that, because Varane just shouldn't play any of those games next season. I don't want
Mm,
Varane to play on a Thursday. He doesn't need to play on a Thursday next
no,
season. You just
no.
stick him, and once you start getting to those really latter stages, then maybe you involve him in that. But if Rafael Varane is playing in the group stage of the Europa League or the Europa Conference League, then I'd be like, what is going on? Because our next game would be on a Sunday, and I would be worried about him playing both of those games. Not to say he can't, but I would say how long before he breaks down. I think the
Yeah,
interesting thing when we do, if we get Timber rather, is, like I said, how many games is he going to play? That first choice would probably be Varane Timber, fine, but
yeah,
what is that inevitable second pairing going to look like? And I
yeah.
think when it comes into Harry Maguire, when we were talking about this last night, I said it obviously is music to a lot of ears of Manchester United fans, and I'm with you guys. Obviously, I don't think Harry Maguire's the best choice to be captain at Manchester United. Obviously, I think there are massive, massive, massive questions about his ability just to be a United player, let alone the
Mm,
captain. Certainly not worth his value in terms of the transfer fee, and it's almost difficult to move him on at this point because of because of the wages and the embarrassment that it will inevitably cause. They'll say you purchased him for 80 million, you sold him for like 30 or something like that. I would be really surprised if Harry Maguire wasn't a Manchester United player at the beginning of next season. I mean, I really would. I would be shocked by that. I think that I am leaning more towards, I do think there might be a different captain named by Ten Hag. I think it's an easy
hmm
decision to make, and I think it's the right time to make that decision too. I don't think he'll have an issue of making it. He doesn't care about making big decisions or anything like that. But if Maguire were to be sold, I would be surprised by that. I would, because I just don't, with everyone leaving the door, as crazy it is, I just don't see Harry Maguire being that person yet.
mm,
Maybe next
mm.
season, after a year of not playing as many games and not being the captain, maybe there's a lot more willingness for Maguire to leave. I don't even know if Maguire would be willing to leave, even if he gets stripped of the captaincy. Do you see him being, okay, you're not going to be captain anymore, right? I'm off. I'm out of here. I don't know if I necessarily see that.
Yeah. Just on, I always like to get the stats up and look at it properly. I've just obviously we're saying Varane's injured a lot and stuff like that, and is not reliable. And this is with starts and versus on the bench and everything. I've gone back to the year just for a decent sample size to 17-18. Yeah. He's played 44 games in that season. Yeah. And even in the league, because I know everyone's going to say how much of that was starts and stuff like that. He started 27 league games. Yeah, he says he was injured for 3 of them. Yeah. So that's not that bad. 44 games, if you're saying we can get 44 games out of him. 18-19 season, he played 43 games again. Yeah. And if you're thinking about it with a centre back, if you've played 44, 43 games, 40 odd games, and you're Varane, there's not very many substitute appearances. You're either starting or you're not. Yeah. Could we agree on that?
Yeah.
1920 season before he come to us, 43 games. That's not season before he comes to us, season 4. 2021 season, he played 41 games. Last season, or this season, he's played 29. So it's dropped as he's come to the Premier League. But on average, he's playing 40 games. He is. Like, again, everyone's saying he's not available, he's not reliable. I get there's injury stuff there, but over his tenure, and I've only gone back sort of 4 years, I could go back probably further. He's playing more than he's not for 40 million
But
quid.
But you
So
could, but you could argue, and I will see
it's
your
our
stat and
physios.
raise you another and raise you another one. So this was a month ago, so it might have changed between now and then. But
Yeah.
only once this season has Raphael Varane started more than 3 games in a row for Manchester United, which was a run of 8 in January and February. That
So
is
is
a
it?
concern.
That is a concern. So is it? Well, that's why someone said there. It's funny, but Mohammed said it's our physios. This is a player who, all right, we're saying that he's got his things, but I've just looked and he's been playing more than not for Real Madrid year in year out. He plays most of the games. Then all of a sudden he comes to Man United, and that's not the case anymore. Is that? And this is the question: is it age catching up where this was inevitably was going to happen? Which is why Real Madrid went, okay, we've managed to get 40 games out of you consistently for X, and we can see something bubbling, so let's sell. Or because he turned down a deal there, he could have stayed. He didn't have to leave.
Hmm.
Let's remember that. Or is it the rigors of the Premier League, the training, the intensity? Is it something to do with that?
Maybe again, just looking more into it. So they were saying that when he was at Madrid, to your point, he
Mm.
missed around 7 games per season in which he was out injured, which
That's
in
not
the grand
bad.
scheme of things
It's not
isn't
bad.
bad. Um, and 23 of the 70 games that he missed for Real Madrid came in a single season when he had a bad knee injury. And the following
Mm.
seasons, 3 seasons, he only missed 14 games, which again, you would go, not bad. It's this dramatic
Drop
fall
off
off the edge of a
from there
cliff
to
at
here.
Manchester United that he's nearly missed 40% of our games since he joined the club
Mm.
in this season. That's a lot. And
But
like
that's
you said,
weird. It's
maybe
weird though because that wasn't the case before. Everyone painted that like that was what his record was at Real
mm,
Madrid. His record wasn't that. You just showed us it.
well, that's
It
what
has
that's
been
what
at
I
Man
s-
United though. I
yeah,
get it.
that's why I said that's my concern about us managing him. It's one thing to buy a player and go, maybe he might be prone to injuries, but we feel confident enough we can manage that. Our fitness team, our physio department, our medical department is strong enough that we can manage those games. But obviously we can't because we haven't been able to. And it's not just him; it's other players as well.
Loads of players, yeah.
That they come to United, we just can't manage it. Like I said, Raphael Varane should be nowhere near playing any kind of Thursday night football next season. It's
Mm.
just stupid because
Yeah,
you're playing with fire at that point. That's
yeah,
why if you have someone like Tim, but that's why when you have people like Lindelof, play them. Even someone like
yeah.
Maguire. Let's be honest, if he's still that, play them on Thursday. Say
Kevin
to
Byron
say
plays
to
it.
Varane, like just we'll keep you for the league because that's going to be our bread and butter next season.
Mm.
So like I said, I think that, but look, we can't. Whilst, like you said, maybe it's not as bad as maybe we think. It has been bad this season, as I mentioned before. We would be naive to think that he's not going to be injured next season
Yeah.
because
Oh, 100%.
he will.
100%. Based on what,
Yeah.
based on what we've seen this year. Tabara says, can't Newcastle take Maguire for 50 million? Yes, Ty. Um, I don't think they would.
But
Actually,
do you think?
actually, if we did put him up for sale, I don't like you said. I'll be stunned if he's not a Man United player in the this next year. He will be, in my opinion, and yours.
Yeah.
But if we did put him up for sale, yeah, probably somewhere like Newcastle would probably come in. Actually, I could see that. Their fans might say, "Oh, we've seen him. Don't try and sell us a dud." But
Yeah.
he'd get another move somewhere. Somewhere as much as we know we're done with him. He's still actually got a reputation. He's still got prowess in the game because he's played at
Mm.
Leicester. He's played at Man United. He's gone to a semi-final and a final for England and played well for England, even though he's been garbage at Man United. It's not like nobody else would take him. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I think it speaks volumes, and this is what we've seen in the past with some Manchester United players, isn't it? I think when you put a player up for sale, the caliber of clubs that come after them gives you a true indication of really where they're at. If
Yeah.
Manchester United put Harry Maguire up for sale, honestly, I don't even. You say you could see Newcastle. I don't even
Do you think
know
they would?
if they would.
You
No,
think,
I
do you
think
think Eddie Howe would
considering
go,
that,
"Nah, I've had a look, mate.
well,
Nah."
considering their trajectory at the moment, and considering the money they have, and I think from their point of view, it would be wise for them to be looking at, like, these again younger profile of players that are really going to develop, lock them down now, and then in the next couple of years they could be really strong. I just don't really see Maguire fully fitting into that one, to be honest. People are saying Leicester. Could see him go back to Leicester. Could see that.
Mm.
Honestly, I just
Leicester
hope
fans don't want
but
it.
I could honestly just see it being just like a mid-table side. Really
Yeah.
could. Aston
be
Villa.
mad.
I could see him go to like a Villa or
Yeah.
something like that.
Even Gerrard though, he's got Mings and he's injury prone, and Gerrard's probably looking for better as well. It's a weird one. That is such a weird one. Who would take him? Lil Yo-Yo says, remember there were comments from Varane about adapting to the Prem. Players like Vidic ever needed time to adapt. Hope he brings consistency next year. Yeah, I do remember when he had that interview. He was talking about settling in, and it's been a big change. Then he was on about that was when he was back from his knee injury, sort of saying we can hopefully manage it well and look after my body, etc., etc. And actually, when I asked him about that when I saw him at Burnley. I said to him, like, how have you find it, like fitting in? And he spoke about like getting some routines. He said, like, yeah, it's just been a while just to get used to everything and work on everything. And he mentioned a little bit then. So I don't know. I feel like he's got to get some form of consistency. But like Owen says, man, there's always going to be injuries there. There is. He's not just going to.
And what really hurt him as well is he had a big injury. I forget what it was, but he had an injury and he was out for a period of time. He came back and played the game against Spurs, one of Ollie's last games. And then after that Spurs game was the international break, and he hurt himself in international break, and then he was out for like 2 months or something. So if he'd have taken out that Spurs game, he was out of action for almost like 3 months, just a big chunk of games. And I think that really hurt him. I think the only thing that does concern me with him again is that when he does pick up these injuries, it always tends to be like these ones. He's out for 2 weeks, or he's out for like. Remember, I think his last one, he was playing, and then Rangnick went into his press conference and went, "Yeah, Rafa's not available for the weekend."
Yeah, he's injured.
And everyone went, "No, we don't." When did he pick up that injury? And he just didn't play for like 2 weeks.
Oh, mate,
it was like, oh,
yeah, Varane's just. It's a shame. I really wanted him to be the guy, but I had to fall
maybe
on
it's
the sword.
you. Maybe it's you. Flex.
Maybe it's the jinx of me.
That's all I'm saying. Did you
And
shake his hand when you saw him?
I was going to say, I promised when I saw him, I didn't tap him on the head 4 times or hug him 4 times or anything.
Give him a fist bump?
I did. I did give him a fist bump.
It's a curse. I've told you, with great power comes great responsibility. Did you give Cavani a fist bump?
No. I gave Elanga one. Jesse. That's just because whenever I see him, he says hello, but not, it wasn't like, please stay and all that. It was just, big up, bro.
I just be aware of your powers. That's all I'm saying. Be aware, okay?
Yeah. Shafi says, as an Ajax fan and United lover, how and whose name can you hold on to Maguire? He can't play ball. Shahafi, we agree. We agree. We're not saying we should hold on to Maguire. We're not saying he should play the games. We totally agree with you, bro. And Tabaris says, can't Newcastle. Oh, we've read that one already. Make sure we've done okay. Oh, there you go, Lil Yo-Yo. Yeah, we've read that one already. And okay, cool. So there you go. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe if you lot are new to the channel. Got about 1,300 people watching, which is wicked. Remember, we've got our 100k subscriber party and first birthday party, 19th of June. Check it out. London's O2 Arena. Tocker Social. Tickets are in the video description below. Click the link, grab your tickets. Hopefully see as many of you guys there as possible. Apparently, Dean Henderson may not go to Newcastle because they basically have got cheaper options, potentially.
It's just this is transfer season, is it not? This is transfer season to a T. Yesterday, Samuel Lucas, was he saying 95% done? Or was it 99% done? I forget the actual number he gave, but he said Henderson's been in Newcastle. They've had talks. It's like 95% done. It's going to happen. It's just a case of it's probably going to be a loan, but opponent one isn't ruled out. And then today, from the Telegraph
are reporting,
Luke Edwards, not anytime soon. Who knows what to believe at this point, right?
Yeah.
I like everyone. I would be very surprised if Dean Henderson was in the Man United squad during the first game of the season.
Oh yeah, he'll get a move. Yeah,
if it's not Newcastle, it could be elsewhere. I saw Chris Wheeler was also saying there's interest from other clubs, including Bournemouth, which is, I think, a bit of a surprising one, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think he would want. I think he will think he's better than that. He's done the whole relegation team. Teams just come up with Sheffield United. I don't see it. I don't
Well, if
see
he
that.
goes to Bournemouth, that is a loan with the idea of I'm coming back to Man United. That's not a
Yeah,
long-term future thing. And unless
yeah,
Bournemouth do a complete madness next season in the Premier League and they're completely certain they're going to be fine, but I don't see that. I
no.
think that he would, if
He'd
he's
want
talking to his agent
Newcastle,
right now, he'd be going, I want to go to Newcastle because
definitely.
they are going to be doing things. They are going to be going places. They can afford my wages. I know some people there as well. He's a northern guy. He's not from Newcastle. He's actually from Whitehaven, where he's from. But he'd be thinking, yeah, I would be shocked if he went to Bournemouth. I mean, I'd also be concerned from a United, from a financial point of view. If it's a loan, are Bournemouth going to be paying 110 grand a week? Are they going to be paying his whole wages? Because I don't see that either. So I don't want to be in a situation where we're still paying some of Dean Henderson wages next season,
Mm.
especially when it starts from we can sell him for 40 million and we're thinking, oh, that money's going to go into the transfer key. That's going to be great. Ends up to he's on loan at Bournemouth. We're paying 80% of his wages. You'd be like, what? that would be typical. That'd be typical for our sort of transfer the way we operate. So I still think he'll go. I still think he'll go to Newcastle, even though that one's come out saying it's not going to happen anytime soon. That might just mean it might just take a while. It might be later on in the transfer window or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I can't see him not leaving. That kid backs himself. He's in the mindset of I'm good enough to be number one, not only for Man United, but if not Man United, somewhere else in the league, not a problem. Like I should be playing first team. I should be somebody's number one now. In his head, he would see it as I've been patient enough. They told me I would replace David De Gea. I thought I had it. Then this season, beginning of this season, I didn't have it, and I didn't play a game. Oh, I played like 2 games. I think he played a couple of games, and he played against Middlesbrough, played against
Young
Young Boys
boys
in the last game
played
of
a
the season.
half.
Last
Played a
played a
half against
half.
young boys as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, because then Tom Heaton come on, did he? Um,
Yeah, and it also
yeah,
felt like at the time when he came off against Young Boys, he was clapping to the crowd. It almost felt like, because remember, that was really close to January. It was like, oh, that's going to
yeah,
be his final thing. He's going to go. And then, as we know, January, just nothing happened. Got rid of Donny and Martial on loan, and that was about it.
yeah, yeah. And Blue Abadi Abadai says Varane has just been unlucky. Got a big injury while he was on international duty, and then he got COVID. Bad luck. Did he get COVID this year? I don't remember that one. He got COVID as well. Yeah,
Most likely, I think
a lot of
most
people
players
did.
did,
Yeah, a lot of
around,
good. Yeah,
especially around Christmas time when they had those
yeah,
games called off.
yeah. The games were called off. But yeah, Henderson. It's such a weird one with Henderson because I remember when Ollie said he's going to be England's number one and Man United's number one. Oh, for sure. We've got Dean. We've given him a new contract. All of this, gassing him up, and even Ollie didn't carry on playing him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like even
Yeah.
Ollie didn't carry on playing him when David De Gea got back from the birth of his child. But then actually it was weird because no, he did carry on playing in the league, didn't he? But there was nothing
Yeah,
to
there
play
was,
for in the league.
yeah. Well,
So
and
the
the
more
end of
important
last
games,
season, yeah, as well. It was odd because, like you said, he did play the games in the league, but the most important games were the Europa League, which De Gea played.
exactly.
Also, in those games in the league, people will like to talk about, for instance, when we beat City at the Etihad and he
Yeah,
throws the ball out to Luke Shaw and we do that really good goal, and people are saying,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what we could do. That's what the kind of stuff we could do. But then he also had a game at Old Trafford against Liverpool, where I remember one of Salah's
Very
goals,
questionable. Near post.
positioning.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, it was miles off. And a concern I had at the time was that's an empty Old Trafford, and you've seen it with a lot of players this season,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's an empty Old Trafford. If you're struggling to manage the pressure of an empty Old Trafford, try putting 78,000 people in there. And we've seen
yeah,
that this season. Some of those players
yeah,
that were doing great last season because they didn't have that pressure on them can't handle it. And it's a
yeah.
different kind of player that can handle that every single week, and especially in goal, which is a pressure position. So that they were my concerns anyway. And then De Gea has just been David De Gea this season anyway. So you could argue maybe it's a case of circumstance, hasn't worked out for a variety of reasons, and maybe it still will work out. But he's not. I don't think he's going to be in goal for Manchester United next season.
No, neither do I. Lil Yo says tactics to drive the price down from Newcastle. Yeah, saying we've got other targets. We're off. We're going to look somewhere else. Try and get the price down. Maybe.
Newcastle in that position though, where it's a bit like United to an extent of if Newcastle ever say to any club, it's a little bit too expensive for us, they're going to be like, "You serious? You've got
Mm.
the most money out of anyone. You know, you can't give it. Oh, it's a little bit tight for cash or whatever. They're like, no, we know you've got a load of money, so let's not even begin that kind of stuff. Now,
Yeah.
maybe, like I said yesterday, FFP might be a situation. They did spend a lot of money in January and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they're thinking, actually, we want to get a couple of players over the summer, 40 million plus. How much did they spend in January? It was like 100 or something.
Yeah, about 100,
Adds up pretty quickly. And they were thinking, actually, yeah, Man United are looking to spend 140 million this summer. So if we said that we've spent 140 million in the last 12 months, might be a little bit of trouble. So maybe that's what they're thinking from that point of view. But it's not to say they don't have the money. It might just be a case of they can't spend it.
Yeah, yeah, and that, and if we can't spend it, then what's the point? You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Just quickly, I wanted the pictures of Ten Hag and McLaren in the cars, Van der Gaag coming from the Mayfair offices, look like I don't know, they look like a not a boy band, but they just everyone papping the cars because they're in London. Eric Ten Hag's just looking at the camera. It just looks really funny. It just makes me laugh.
I only
Really
saw
odd
the
pictures.
Ten Hag. Yeah, I only saw the Ten Hag one in the car, and what really stood out to me isn't, like you said, is his face. And I did think, oh, it's so weird,
What's it?
taking
Bottle
a
of
picture of
Fiji?
him when he's in his car and all that. The thing that really sort of stood out to me is if you go and look at this picture, Flex, his suit is pretty much the exact same color as the seat he's sitting in. He is
Yeah.
blended
I'm looking
in
at it now. Yeah.
almost perfectly.
Yeah.
He looks like just a floating head in
Yeah.
that seat.
Yeah.
It's
I tell
incredible.
you what, it's a nice suit. That's a bit of me. That I like
You
Ten Hag
reckon?
swag. Yeah, his style's
That's
nice.
a
I
bit too
like
bold.
it.
I mean, I don't mind it on other people. That would be too bold for me. I'd never be able to pull that off.
Oh, a nice
I'd
little
look
cream
foolish.
number. Then you mix it up with the
Oh,
contrast trousers. Yeah, I like. It's not
I
a
couldn't
whole.
do
It's not
that.
like a whole suit. It's different trousers, different. Oh,
Yeah.
it's nice. It's nice. And I
Mm.
like a man. I like a manager that wears the blazer with the chinos and
Yeah.
some nice flat base trainers. I'm here
Yeah.
for that because I know
It's
Ralph is come to
smart.
upset us.
It's smart, but not ridiculously over. It's not a
Yeah,
full suit, like you said. He
it's
sort of
not
mixed and
full
matched there a
suit.
little bit.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's a bit. If I was a manager, it's a bit of me, Owen. I do like tracksuits and hoodies and stuff like that. But when I'm ready
Mm.
to do it up a bit, I'm coming with the blazer, turtleneck
Yeah.
underneath, and some chinos and some nice trainers. That's a bit of me. That is a bit of
Yeah,
me.
I like. He's on the touchline as well. I've seen some of him when he's obviously at Ajax. He's a bit like Pep on the sidelines in that he'll
Yeah.
wear, the trainers, smart trainers. He sort of
Yes. Yes.
He dresses up nicely on the touchline, but not in a suit. You know, what I mean, he'll wear the turtleneck. He'll wear
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And I'm behind that. Yeah, I'm sold on
Yeah.
that. I'm s- I'm sold on that. So that's pretty much all we've got today, guys. So other than that, like we said, the timber talks are advanced. So that's what's being reported. Um, does that have an impact on Harry Maguire? A lot of people are saying it does. His future's in doubt. We've discussed that. And obviously Dean Henderson as well. It's also important to note that we've got the last press conference today. The last
Yes.
press conference from Ralph Rangnick. Let's talk a little bit about that, actually. What are
Yeah.
you expecting from it, Owen? Are you expecting anything nuts? Or do you think he's just going to slide out quietly now? He said what he's needed to say.
Depends what he gets asked, to be honest. From covering quite a few of these this season, sometimes in the live one at 1 o'clock or 1:30, whenever it is, sometimes the best questions don't get asked in that one. Sometimes the best
Yeah.
questions do get asked in the embargoed one, which comes out at 10:30. So don't be shocked if at 10:30 this evening you get some
Yeah.
really sort of salacious and meaty quotes. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. Again, as I mentioned before, what is going to be interesting about today's one is every time in the past when he's been asked about Eric Ten Hag or plans to meet with Eric Ten Hag or discussions, what have you, he's always said he's the manager of Ajax at the moment. Yes, he's going to be coming in, but he's got his hands busy. He's in a title race, all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not the case. So and Ralph doesn't lie. He's very transparent. He's as transparent as a window. So if you ask him, you'll get an answer and he'll tell you the truth. So if he gets asked today, what your plans of Eric Ten Hag? Are you going to have a discussion with him? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he will say
If he
now.
says, he'll say if he is or not. He'll say, yeah. Or he'll say, have you spoken to him? He'll probably say, no, I haven't spoken to him yet, but something's in the books. We're gonna figure that out. I hope he gets asked questions about if the consultancy thing's been fleshed out a little bit more. If I was in the press conference, I'd start asking him about specific players. Why not? You know, this guy's got nothing to lose at this point. He is, you know, he's going to be a consultant. We don't know what that consultancy is going to look like. So he's going to get asked, if he gets asked all sort of questions, as I mentioned, he will answer them. So I'm interested about this one. I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest, if it's just the typical run-of-the-mill press conference. Like he says, I'm focusing on the weekend. As I said, I'm focusing on the weekend. That kind of thing as well. But who knows? You never know with Ralph. Sometimes they start off these press conferences as normal, and then he'll do an answer, and you go, I can't believe you just said that. So you never know with Ralph.
100%. Lil Yo-Yo says Ten Hag dresses up for a shubs. 100%. He's on his way to the party at all times. He's on his way dressing up like he's going out, like he's going raving, like he's going to events, he's going brunch, whatever. He's out.
Coming to ours.
He's out.
He's going to be at Taco Social. That's what he's going
to be. Imagine. Yeah, that'd be mad. That obviously would never happen in a million years, but you know, that'd be funny. It's his last one. I just think they can't wait for it to end quick enough. You know, honestly, the players, Ralph himself probably thought this has been a disaster. You know, these, you know, he's probably looking at a lot of them saying, I've had conversations about you. You ain't going to be here. You what? You're smiling at me now, mate. You wait till you speak to Eric. He's told me about you. I think there's a lot of that Ralph knows behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, do you think we're going to win that game as well? You saw what happened to Palace yesterday. You know, they were 2-0 up. Everton with the great escape.
It was crazy, that game. Certainly at halftime, I thought. Halftime, I was messaging people going, I tell you what, I think Everton are in really big trouble again, because I thought
they were in huge trouble at halftime. Massive.
Yeah. I thought I don't see them beating Arsenal at the weekend, so I thought they're not going to pick up another point this season. And you never know. Leeds away to Brentford. It just depends whether Brentford want to play or not. They've got nothing to play for, but they're good at home. And look at Burnley getting a point. I think at the time they were leading, but then Villa pulled it back. So I thought, it's going to be really, really tight. But you have to give credit to Everton. That atmosphere, certainly at Goodison Park, I think plays a lot. Not a fan of the whole pitch invasion thing. It must be
that was disgusting. I'm so glad, and I'll say it as it is. You know, people saying I don't condone, you know, violence, all of that. All right, cool. But when you're getting antagonized and people coming in your face, idiots, because you know, idiot fans jumping over. You want to jump into a player's face or manager's face. The Billy Sharp one was disgusting. That guy's going to jail. And this one today, okay, it wasn't as bad as that. But if you want to jump into someone's face, finger pointing, swearing, giving it all of that, hold your licks, hold that. And it wasn't like, you know, Vieira punched him in the face and jumped on top of him and done the UFC kind of, you know what I mean? You just give him a quick swipe, say, get on the floor, you little idiot.
Well, also as well, if you did that in this, like, imagine you did that in the street.
Exactly.
People are like, you know what I mean?
Someone coming in your personal space like that.
Yeah, my issue of it is I was actually having a discussion with a mate of mine when I was watching the Forest game in the week, and you see all these people rush on. We've seen it in the last couple of weeks. And you do always see it at the end of the season. I understand that. People rush onto the pitch. My concern was at the time with the Forest one, as I went, that just looks really unsafe. And I understand that sometimes with the stewards and the police and whatever, there's not a lot that they can do, and there's not enough of them and all that kind of stuff. And what you need to do when there's a crowd rushing at you, I understand that. But my point at the time was, that doesn't look safe. That doesn't look in control. And a friend of mine at the time said, I don't really think it's that deep. People run on the pitch. It's celebration. I said, yeah, I get that. But again, it just doesn't feel safe. And sometimes I look at some of the fans and I wonder, are they running on the pitch because they're celebrating, or are they running on because they can be on the pitch? They can take pictures on social media of I'm on the pitch and they can do whatever. And that's my concern. And look, if they run onto the pitch and nobody's on there and the players and the officials and the coaching staff are off, then I'm like, okay, fine. But you've got these people, especially if I was an opposition player, if I'm a Crystal Palace player, and I'm at Goodison Park and I see them rushing on the pitch, why would you not shit yourself? You'd be like, oh my God, these people 100%. Are running at me.
And let's not dress this up, These are football fans. And football fans can be the most moronic idiots going when, even in times of celebration, let alone in times of when their team's losing and they want to abuse you and they want to throw stuff. And when people take corners, they throw lighters and coins and whatnot. That's a separate thing. But in times of when they lose their mind because they're on cloud nine, they can turn into absolute idiots, which is what we're seeing. You know, if anything, if you had any ounce of decency about you and you was running on the pitch to do that, you would obviously run to your own players, celebrate, you know, whatever, that's fine. And if you did come across opposition player, I have seen some decent fans sort of just shake their hand and say, oh, you know what I mean? I saw
Well, I
that
saw with that
does
Vieira one.
happen.
I did see it. In fairness, I did see when it was happening.
Someone
Some
else
Everton
was
fans
trying to,
were trying to
yeah.
like get him out and all that
This
kind
is
of
a
thing.
minority. This is the, but you're
Yeah.
always, this is in society. Doesn't matter whether you're out on a night out in a club. There's always one idiot who's had too
Yeah,
much to
yeah.
drink, or he's doing drugs, or just doing stupid, or
Yeah.
he's just an idiot who's just looking for trouble. There's always one, and
Yeah.
that's overshadowed it. But it's like you said, it's a matter of time before that was going to happen, and it's fair game. Well done, Patrick Vieira. He shouldn't get any sort of ban or fine. He probably will. He probably will now, but no, he shouldn't. He really, really shouldn't. He should be commended, because if more managers and that started doing that, it will make these idiots think twice. And you don't want to condone violence. You're not saying you want these things to happen, but to me, it's fair game if some idiot comes up in your face doing that. You deserve everything you get.
And I know people again will say like, "Oh, you sort of poo-pooing on the passion of the game and all that kind of stuff." I totally get that, but
passion,
for me, like, again, you can run on the pitch and be respectful, or at least like wait till everyone's off. If they say everyone gets off and then they get off or whatever, that's fine, and I understand that. But like I said, my concern is you can't look at when they rush on or whatever and just go, "That's totally safe." Everyone's completely protected at that point. And look, let's be honest, people shouldn't be allowed to take stuff into the grounds, but they do. So who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows what people could be walking on with? That would be my concern.
Yeah, you got to protect yourself. You don't know what a man's on. Man, you light a flare, throw it at you, or could have any. You don't know.
I mean, to be honest, how are the flares getting in?
There's loads of flares recently across football in this country. Yeah, loads. I mean, someone said there, that Vieira channeling his inner Brian Clough, that Brian Clough video resurfacing when he's just battering the shit out of people. Yeah, damn right. You want to come on in and do this, Breeze? Hold that. I'm here for that. Anyway, smash the like on the video, guys. We see you all again very, very soon. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you get your party tickets to the 100k subscriber celebration and our first birthday. It's 19th of June, O2 Arena at Toka Social. So make sure you guys check it out. We're out of here, guys. See you again soon. Peace.